Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Lucky and you are watching LLL, which is lifelong learning. Here we simplify SQL Server, DBA, Azure, AI, automation and other tech learnings. Let's begin to the our next round of interviews question in the interview series. So welcome all in this interview question series. So let me deep dive into the question. The question is related to Azure SQL and cloud migration experience. So the question can be asked in form of can you describe your experience with Azure SQL and how it relates to cloud migrations? It's clearly mentioned that interviewers wants you to to answer in such a way that you would be able to showcase your knowledge related to Azure SQL and then further in the migration of like cloud migration of databases from on-prem to cloud. So let's see how it is. So when it comes to the Azure SQL platform, then you can explain like starting from the hosting databases in cloud. In the cloud, you can host your database in two um, areas: Azure SQL databases and Azure SQL Managed Instances. Then further you can explain the deployment model. The databases can be deployed in single database, elastic pool, managed instance. In these are the deployment model. Then it comes for the once you have deployed the database, then definitely you will configure the scaling, like how much you can scale it and the performance and the securities. So in these terms, like the areas, the features come like DTUs versus vCores, these automation, backups, geo-replication, auditing, and security. These all things comes under scaling, performance, and security. And you need to configure all these things. In the last, you can explain about the monitoring and automation. So when it talks about the monitoring, then there is a, a like best tool in the Azure, which is Azure monitoring integration, and then log analytics to analyze any sort of logs. For the automation, we use Terraform ARM template for automated provisioning. So I hope you are clear about the Azure SQL platform. These all things you can explain, and then interview will understand that you have the depth knowledge about like how you host the database, how you configure, in what deployment you configure, you scale, your performance, security, monitoring, and automation in such a way that your hands-on experience will showcase to interviewer. Let's come to the next slide. So which all tools you will use while migrating the database from on-prem to uh, um, cloud platform. The first is the assessment phase. Yeah, this is like very step by step you go. When you get the opportunity to work on migration, in the first step you will assess. You will assess by using the tool Data Migration Assistance to assess compatibility and identify potential issues with on-premise SQL Server workload before migration. Once you have done the assessment, then you will go to the proof of concept. Perform validation, migration of test performance characteristics and validate migration approach before full production deployment. So that means that directly you are not going to migrate directly on the production. You need to first test it in test server, record the proofs of concept like this is the performance of migration, so that while you are migrating on production, you would be so much confident that without having you are having the data like in how much time you can migrate it. Now when the real migration execution come, then you will use a tool which is Azure Database Migration Services. So by leveraging this tool for both lift and shift and all online migration with minimal downtime required. With the help of this tool, you would be able to migrate your database in minimal downtime. So you have done the assessment. You have after that you have recorded the performance of migration in the test environment. After that, you have done the real migration. Now in the last, it comes the post migration steps. Those post migration step contains your networking configuration, Azure Active Directory authentication, security control, and monitoring solution after successful migrations. So this is the cloud process and tools overview. Now, see, you are doing a migration, and definitely there are some benefits out of it to migrate anything. Like the what would be the business impact? Like why a customer or client wants the migration. So how the benefit and business impact you can explain to him. As of now, you are managing your infrastructure in on-prem. So like there is a lot of cost in on-prem infrastructures. So that reduced infrastructure overhead. While you will be into the cloud, definitely the infrastructure call will be eliminating, because that manual that in the on-prem, you need to do manual patching, backup management, hardware management on its own. So these all will cost will eliminated. Now in the second, disaster recovery. So DR will definitely enhance in the cloud environment. You implement geo redundancy and built-in failover capability for improved high availability and disaster recovery. The third benefit is elastic scaling. So according to the seasonal requirement, when you want to scale your infrastructure, you can scale it easily. When you want to compress it or reduce it, you can reduce it. This is the benefit of elastic scaling. Enabled automatic scaling for seasonal workload and peak usage periods without manual intervention. So these all are the benefit you can explain to him. So in the first slide, we have we understood the Azure platform, how it works. In the second, we understood the tools, with what all tools we will be implementing the migration. And third, in the third slide, I have explained you about the benefit of doing this migration from on-prem to cloud. Now, after explaining all these things, you need to explaining explain a real-time example. Then in past you have done this migration, how you did that, what all tools you used that, and what are the benefit or what are the outcome you were able to see after that deployment. So in the next slide, we'll talk about the examples. Real world migration success stories. In my last project, I worked on migrating a critical on-prem SQL Server workload to Azure MI. We started with an assessment using DMA to check compatibility and identify some unstopped feature that required monitor code changes. So there are phases for the complete migration. In the first step, you do the assessment and planning. You assess the requirement, you do the planning using data migration assessment to identify compatibility uses and plan necessary code modification. In the second phase, you do online migration. So you execute migration using Azure DMS. In all these things, tools are also mentioned. So with the while using tool Azure DMS in online mode, you can minimize business disruption and downtime. In the third phase, you do actual configuration and optimization. So set up Azure monitoring, long-term backup, retention, auditing, and performance monitoring. These all are the post migration steps. So you do post migration configuration to optimize it. Now after all these three phase, now the third come, which is like, which with that reason only we are doing all this migration. So that is the business result. What is the outcome of doing all these things? So you were able to deliver geo redundancy, flexible scaling, and reduce maintenance overall, building client confidence for future migrations. So, like suppose, like he has uh, he allowed you to migrate 15 20 servers now, while and after seeing the outcome and benefit, he will definitely be ready for the future migration, and rest of all the servers he would be ready for this. So this is all about the Azure SQL and its migration benefits in the hope you, if when you get this question, you in the interview, you would be able to answer it. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I really hope that you find this video helpful. If you did, definitely you would be going to the like, share, and subscribe to this long life learning, where we learn, grow together, one step at a time. See you in the next video. Thank you.